Sigiriya, the crowning glory of a proud civilization. The capital for many centuries at Anuradhapura, by pure accident, was shifted to Sigiriya. According to the chronicles and other sources, the Prince Kashyapa, the parricide, sought sanctuary here at strategic Sigiriya and built his fortress capital. The Sigiriya complex, consisting of the magnificent buildings on the 600-foot-high rock and its precincts, the well-laid-out gardens, all testify to the skill, artistry, and sensitivity of all those who were associated with its creation. It is undoubtedly a unique creation, the finest flowering of aesthetic sensibility. The remains of the foundation, the ones that are at the top, must be those of important buildings. The topmost remains must be of a two-storied palace. Buildings taller than 2 stories at the wind-swept height would be improbable. The ground plan, covering 3.5 acres of the rock summit without violating the natural configuration, is an astounding feat. A tiered and split-level ground plan would have been covered with buildings and other appurtenances, as evidenced by the huge quantities of bricks that can be seen today. These buildings would have undoubtedly been magnificent creations of human endeavor. Those who doubt that the king lived here have to provide an explanation as to why such an amazing complex was so laid out. Buildings, gardens and pathways, and all the ornamentation and adornment. The very conceptualization of such a magnificent complex itself evokes wonderment. The wall, built along the elongated cavity in the midsection of the rock, has drawn intense attention from archaeologists and historians alike. This wall, with a highly polished surface, is aptly called the mirror wall. On this mirror wall are graffiti recording the impressions of visitors from a far distant time, as the 7th century or even earlier. Most of the deciphered graffiti provides a wealth of information of immense historical as well as sociological value. The graceful, pleasing, and naturalistic paintings of Sigiriya, the earliest surviving specimens of the pictorial art of Lanka. Expressive lines in the drawings and the color, making use of light and shade, express virtuosity in their execution. According to Professor Paranavitana, the figures represent lightning and wind, Vijulata and Meghalata. To other eminent archaeologists, the figures represent the ladies of Kashyapa's court on their way to worship at the shrine at Pidurangala. Many are the interpretations, but all agree that they are, as paintings, exquisite, the finest among rock paintings anywhere in the world. Sihagiri, the Lion Rock, so named because the entrance to it was through the open mouth of a massive lion. Of the lion, only the massive paws have survived to date. These paws were discovered around 1910-1911 during excavations undertaken by H.C.P. Bell. the pause on a raised tier on the north side. Close to them, the remains of some buildings have been discovered. Sigiriya, though a rock itself, is part of a well-designed citadel with well-developed precincts extending further down the plain. Even the moats, constructed as part of its defense, were fed by this tank. The brick wall, now part of the playground of the primates who move freely here, was part of the defenses of Sigiriya. The first perimeter of the defense fortification was the outer moat. Kautilya's Arthashastra mentions the importance of the moat as a defense fortification. The moats, filled with mud and man-eating crocodiles, were almost impenetrable. Though the tradition is to place the entrance to the city eastwards or northwards, here, departing from tradition, it is placed to the west, taking into account the natural layout of the land. Anyone entering from the west first encounters the moat, and beyond it, to the interior, is the wall built of stone. Beyond the wall is the fascinating complex of parks. Sigiriya is world famous because of its unique creations. Foremost among those is the water park in the west, symmetrically laid out with its pleasing geometric patterns. Some of the features at Sigiriya are seen much later in the parks created by the Mughals and the Persians. Some of the features that were common to Chinese and Japanese landscaping were found at Sigiriya. Whatever the similarities that may be discerned, the creations of Sigiriya are the mix of features which are uniquely Sinhalese in character. In the water park is the summer house. Though similar remains are found on both wings of the park, only this is established as a summer house. Though the only remains are the base stones that held the wooden pillars, archaeologists surmise this to be Kashyapa's summer palace. The moat round the palace that does not violate the natural layout of the land is in conformity with the concepts underlying the art of landscaping at Sigiriya. A living example of hydraulic engineering skills in Kashyapa's time is seen in the fountains that come alive with the rains. One cannot for a moment imagine that this water is from the summit face of the Lion Rock. The glory that was Sigiriya ended after only 18 years in 492 with the demise of Kashyapa. Sigiriya, standing alone today, had left much to posterity as its legacy.